all in that kind of way.
Yeah, but again, you're allowed to belong to organizations. It should, in America, that shouldn't get you killed.
No, it definitely shouldn't get you killed and everything like that. We're bringing in Dr. Sharif as well.
I got one more thing. The FBI raided the house of a Washington Post reporter. So Trump is now sicking the FBI on people who write stuff that he doesn't like. The reporter, Hannah Natanson, spent the past year covering the Trump administration's efforts to fire federal workers and redirect much of the workforce. These employees shared, this is from the New York Times, shared with her their anger, frustration, and fear with the administration.
But speaking of the administration, apparently the Clintons are back in the news, and they're saying that it is time to fight for this country as they've been targeted for contempt. I'm guessing that's contempt of court because they are contempt of hearings because they're set to testify, or they refuse to testify in the Epstein inquiry and all along those lines. So they're expected to defy the Epstein probe subpoena, and definitely it sounds like they are saying that the American people need to fight for the country as they've been targeted for contempt.
Okay, so the targeting the Clintons. The last time Bill Clinton was president was what, 2000, frickin' 25 years ago?
Yeah.
All right, so he's not president now. We have a guy who is president, who's in the Epstein files. So this is a distraction from that guy. And they're 25 days, which you said, overdue in releasing the Epstein files. And so they're just trying to distract you using the Clintons from our current president who's in the files. And this gives MAGA something to latch on to. And it's more horseshit from James Comer, the Trump lackey in Congress who does all these, bogus investigations. And yeah, sure, if Clinton's in the Epstein files, then yeah, we should know the extent of it. But they've only released 1%. They were supposed to release 100% more than 3.5 weeks ago.
Does the ICE not know the difference between one form of brown people and another form of brown people? Because apparently the Oglala Sioux tribe is demanding the release of Lakota men that were detained by ICE. And actually, if you want to go by color schemes, Indians are supposed to be considered red and everything like that. But they are saying that 3 tribal members were arrested in ICE and that they're in ICE detention. And they're saying that ICE is illegally holding these tribal members from their Minneapolis raids. And there's even some that are saying it's as many as 4, and their status is unknown and everything like that. So I do know that sometimes, and there are some natives from some of the Spanish societies as well, because we know that there are native societies that existed in South America just like they exist in North America, but apparently they picked up some that were
a couple things are going on with ICE. One is the leadership is not discouraging them from being assholes. Kristi Noem, with no previous law enforcement experience, Stephen Miller, no law enforcement. These guys are gleeful about ICE messing with people. The 2, ICE isn't vetting. It hires very well at all. A woman wrote about getting hired by ICE, even though her background shows that she is an anti-ICE activist. And she said, this is bad because if they hired me without catching this, even though my activism is all over the internet, she says that means they're not checking on anybody and they could be letting in all sorts of assholes, and they're only getting 47 days of training, which is freaking adequate. That's 7 weeks, 8 weeks. And a cop gets 2 years of training. You go to the academy for 9 months. And then you're working with a seasoned cop. They're not letting you out there on your own. This isn't happening with frickin' ICE. They're letting yahoos unchecked, and the people in charge celebrate cruelty. It's a bad frickin' situation.
No, definitely a bad situation. And Jacoby, I was just talking about the fact that the Oglala Sioux tribe is demanding the release of I think it's up to 4 Native Americans and everything like that that were detained by ICE. So it sounds like ICE is going after various black and brown people, not just the ones that are coming from Latin America, but even going after some of the natives as well and everything like that.
Mark, didn't I say when he got elected? Didn't I say it when this year started? If you have melanin in your skin, be careful.
Right.
I've said this a million times. This has nothing to do with immigration. This is the same thing. This is all about, I think it was, I forget who it was. It might have been Jamel Hill or some other person. They were talking about the whitening of America. At first I was thinking, is that really what's going on? But truthfully, because if you've got melanin in your skin, they are looking at you. This is what Trump has stated. Trump has legitimately stated that, if you look at the patterns of the things that he's talked about and defended, the civil rights was bad for white people. Oh, no, there's a genocide against white people. Oh, no, I don't know what else we need to really, why do we keep hiding from it? I understand that it's painful. But why do we hide from it?
Yeah, but even if you say something against him, you get fired and everything like that. Because the other story that I saw was out of Detroit, and apparently there was a Ford worker that called out Trump and definitely talked about some of his history, including accusations of pedophilia and everything like that. But Trump did turn around and made an obscene gesture and announced an expletive at the Dearborn factory worker, and now that worker has been suspended from his job and everything like that. So apparently, but he said he has no regrets whatsoever, this Ford worker and everything like that. But it sounds like he was
he said it was worth it. He said that destiny gave him an opportunity to speak out, and he's glad he took it. So we know
we have to understand. I was just going to say, he protested and he was proud of it, and that's what this country was built on. The company itself trying to save face, as well as some of the people could have been offended by it. He should not have been. Well, I don't know. That's how that company runs. I'm not going to complain about it, because what they would have faced is pressure from that gentleman. But even more so, what we have to realize right now, because of the chaos this man has created, things are getting worse. I know Dr. Sharif is over in Bangladesh, but he is closer to Qatar than we are. They've just told everybody, all Americans, to leave Qatar. The Middle East is still a tinderbox. Now the Gulf of Mexico is a tinderbox because of this man and what he is doing. What he said to the Iranian people that were protesting, hey, we're going to support you. He hasn't gone in to do anything, and what is he going to do to support them? Yes, I understand the power, and hey, we've got backing, and yes, the Iranian people are standing up for what they need to do. But now what's next? If he leaves them out high and dry, guess what? They're going to hate us too. So this man is just really creating chaos amongst the world, chaos in this country. It's just unreal.
All right. So black families often have the talk with their kids, which is how to behave around cops, so you don't provoke a terrible reaction from the cop. But now we have a very unprofessional and
that is true, and that happened.
And this is brand new. This ICE behavior, it's only gone on for a few months, and we don't know how to effectively protect ourselves from ICE. Some kid was out there filming ICE. ICE has heavy-duty weapons. They shot him right point blank in the face with a non-lethal round. A non-lethal round is a giant rubber bullet that's supposed to bruise you and discourage you from protesting or rioting, but it can fuck you up if you get hit in the face. And they shot him in the face. He was holding a microphone, a megaphone. The megaphone shattered fragments went into his eye, destroyed his left eye. He will never see out of that eye again. And ICE said, yeah, he got a cut. He's fine. It's an
some more
unaccountable.
Well, Rick, don't forget, the two people that were shot in Oregon. Well, ICE now says they can't find the video.
They're unaccountable. These are two people. They said they belong to the Venezuelan gang.
Yeah.
And so that they shoot two people. They put holes. They like one guy gets hit, a man and a woman. A guy gets hit twice. Woman gets hit once. They get shot. They drive. The ICE does not take them to the hospital. They check themselves into the hospital. ICE accused them, I think, of using their car as a deadly weapon. And I think
deadly weapon. But that's
the thing is, what they have done is they have trained people. They have trained MAGA. They have trained. This is why, when I tell Nick, joking about this stuff is not helpful, because what it is you're parroting their training and you're instilling it even more. The reality of the situation is it's the same wash, rinse, or rinse, wash, repeat, whatever. Wash, rinse. That's what they do. Had there been no camera to catch what happened to the lady they shot in the face, when they said use the car as a deadly weapon. The lady that there was another camera that caught a lady who ICE detained and, matter of fact, shot at. What did they say about her? Oh, well, she used the car as a deadly weapon. They do the same. He was a part of Tren de Alagua. He's a part of some Hispanic gang. They literally they used a Spanish word to call somebody a gang member. It's just, they're creating lies.
The gang doesn't exist.
Exactly.
It's a made up word. It doesn't exist.
Exactly. So they train their people, hey, there's a boogeyman and I'm protecting you from this boogeyman.
Well, speaking of the boogeyman, apparently the governor in Colorado is going to protect an election denier. So Tina Peters is supposed to be going back to court because Governor Polis is calling Tina Peters' prison sentence harsh, and it is renewing clemency conversation.
This is more bending the knee to Trump. This is a woman who got an election official who got in and messed with ballots and was legitimately sentenced to, 10 years in prison, because you don't mess with and so now Trump is threatening Colorado, and Colorado is bending to Trump. And this lady who was sentenced by a judge and jury for legitimately effing with an election, which is rare.
That's rare and everything like that.
So she might get out of prison, which is crazy.
That's really good. I know we had Dr. Patman show a minute ago and everything like that, but apparently he's changing the food pyramid, and I'd love to hear even Sharif's attitudes about this. But apparently he's saying that we need to eat more red meat and have some other things that sometimes people have been wanting us to back off of, including dairy and everything like that. But apparently he is saying things along those lines. Even Stat News, there was a lady or a gentleman that said, I'm a designer. The new food pyramid is outdated and confusing. So have you been eating a lot of red meat? And what are your thoughts around this notion of us eating more red meat and not less? Because I know there had been a push against red meat at one time as well.
It's pretty crazy. Red meat you shouldn't be eating red meat 5 times a week. It's fine to eat once or twice a week, but no, it shouldn't be like a huge component of your personal food pyramid. But we should check in with Dr. Sharif. We've been bitching about the U.S. all for half an hour now.
Yeah, let's check with Dr. Sharif and everything like that.
Thank you. This is an interesting discussion. Definitely. Our audience also have interest about what's going on in USA. So lots of ups and downs, I think, happening around the world. I'm very much concerned about the Iran issues. We see many people died in Iran. So the political issues and everything changing, this is very bad. And this is very interesting how USA actually deal with Iran, how USA impose their power or manage these Iranian situations. That may be another interesting things. Second, if you say about Bangladesh or want to know about Bangladesh, We have elections coming February 12th. So all of the political parties, they are taking preparation for attend in the elections. But for me, most important factor that how our youth communities they involve in these elections, how they get result, and how they can engage with practical things. Here is the way how that Pot TV can help the communities like Bangladesh. You you can educate the young people through your expertise. Pot TV can observe as a our election activities. Naturally, we welcome different like European Union already. They will visit our elections. And third, I believe the role of media, which is very important, because media need to bring all of the good news, all of the critical news, and all of the interesting news from around the world. As Bangladesh is very small, maybe many big media like CNN, like BBCs, uh, I do not think they will cover a lot, but uh, I think the TV channel like Pot TV, you have a lot of scope. So that is the things. I think that here is the scope for talent economy, and we can contribute in an effective way. Thank you.
No, no problem. What are some of the main issues that Bangladesh students are talking about? Because I know you've got a number of students that you're working with on a regular basis and everything, not just from Bangladesh, but other parts of Asia and even other parts of the world. So, what are the main issues that you're hearing your students talk about, and what are things that they are concerned about? I imagine some were concerned about AI, but what are some of the other things that they seem to be concerned about?
Actually, like right now, economics and politics has a lot of challenges after the COVID, because it's look like we are under World War III. So because of the emerging economy, they have engagement with this like big countries like uh, USA stop all of the fund for the donor agencies. US stop the activities of US aid. I think for these issues, many NGOs in emerging economy in Asia, they are in trouble. And third major things I believe that youth have, this is unemployment. Unemployment, even in India, is a very big country. From the youth, it has around 40-50% people, they have unemployment and other things. So that's why with Australia, with India, with one of our projects or startup is called Skitry, we are solving this unemployment problem. Because if people do not have engagement with the jobs and they have unemployment problem, that time they do all of the political things, they do all of the destroy, and they do all of the drug involvement and these things. I think all of the country, including USA and Bangladesh or India, they need to more focus on the youth and youth employment issues. Thank you.
Yeah. No, no problem. And everything. Hey, Rick. I know that sometimes people are talking. This sounds like a straight up theme from a movie or something like that, because there's definitely still an active several mafias. It's not just the Italian, but other mafias as well. But as I looked at one of these West Coast stories and everything, they found a former Oregon mayor after nearly 20 years and everything like that. So his remains were found on a Washington Beach, and of course, we all know the famous Hoffa case where they still don't know where the body is and everything like that. But I was just wondering your thoughts, or if you had heard anything about this, because apparently the skeletons found on a Western Washington Beach have been identified as a former Oregon mayor and everything like that.
I know it's hard to get rid of a body. If you try to dump them at sea, weighted down, they can fill up with gases and float back up. And here's a guy who was probably dumped at sea who came back after 20 years. We should check in with Sasha about
Yeah, we can talk to Sasha one about Canada and China, because, like I said, it looks like
and also
Carney.
Iran. Iran is a big deal.
Yeah, Iran is a very big deal. So, any thoughts around what's going on and everything like that? We can start with Canada, and Canada is going to meet with the Chinese, but definitely want to hear your thoughts around what's going on with Iran as well. And we did have a comment that came across the board as well.
Okay, Canada is meeting China. Let's see what will come out of it. The Iranian situation is getting quite tragic, I would say, because you can imagine well-prepared regime of Ayatollah with his guards, name Revolutionary Guards, and all others well equipped and armed against the protesters who have no arms. You can imagine, with especially a specific um, aggressiveness of these guards. I'm afraid that we're looking at tens and tens of dead protesters. It's already exceeds 10,000. Trump is not, although he was talking a lot about helping them, but he is not able to help because Iran is too complicated. It's not Venezuela. He cannot just fly there, take Ayatollah, bring him to New York, and so on. It's impossible. He's not going to able to do it with all the Delta forces and the other forces. It's just impossible to do. So he has to then move his, even aerial bombardment will not bring anything. So he has to bring his army, so-called foot on the ground. That's what he promised during his election will never happen. So it's either that or just shut up. Why are you talking about and trying to get people up to fight the regime without being unable to help it? And in fact, you're promising to help it. So you make people less cautious, more aggressive, and there will be more casualties because of that. So I think if he would shut up, it would be tremendous help to protesters.
Yeah, well, speaking of protesters, and I mentioned this yesterday, it looks like Democratic lawmakers have filed an article of impeachment against Kristi Noem. So it does look like there are some people that are even looking at the possibility of abolishing ICE. But yeah, it looks like there is a push for a fight over DHS funds after the ICE shooting, and there is a push to impeach Kristi Noem. So we'll see if this actually goes on, because they said over 50 House Democrats signed on to it.
Yeah, we're not there yet. The House consists of 435 members. And
Right.
so 50 out of 435 doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah, that doesn't get you anywhere. Apparently, Kehoe is who's in Missouri, wants them to decide whether to eliminate state economic taxes. I was wondering your state income taxes. So I wondered if this is going to be something we're going to see more folks doing, because the nationwide tax competition is heating up as the Missouri governor is calling for zero income tax. So apparently, he doesn't want any income tax at all. So what is our thoughts about this? Is this going to
All
be
right, so Missouri is so there are giver states and there are taker states.
Right.
And states like California and New York pay more money in federal taxes than we get back in grants from the federal government. I'd say Missouri is probably a taker state. They get more money from the government than they pay in taxes. If they get rid of state income tax, they're going to want even more funding. So it's a scam. They're showing that they're tough on taxes. They're standing up. With one hand, they're standing up against big government. With their other hand, they're saying, give us more money so we can, from other states.
Well, I had another question about social media before I get to that and everything. It looks like Trump is ending federal funding to sanctuary cities and states, and that's supposed to take effect on February 1st and everything like that. So it looks like they're going to be cutting off funds to any sanctuary cities and their states starting next month. So I think we've got a couple of sanctuary cities here in North Carolina, but it looks like there's going to have funds cut off and all in that way. How much do y'all pay attention, and this is for Dr. Sharif and Sasha, to the world leaders that are possibly on the social media platforms and everything? I think Putin's got a social media platform. We just saw that the Venezuelan president has recently got a X account, and I guess that's her way of communicating with the world and also with Trump and others. But it looks like she is definitely on X now, the new president of Venezuela, and all along those lines. So how much do you pay attention in your own research and in your own social media searches to what's going on in the world by these world leaders? And do you even pay attention to their social media platforms. I imagine you look at Putin's platform every once in a while, Sasha, but I don't know if you do or not, since that is definitely the enemy of Ukraine, and rightfully so. But I just wondered, how much do y'all pay attention to these world leaders and their social media platforms?
No, I don't pay much attention to media platforms. I'm listening, or I have access to the real stuff. For example, if Trump has a speech, I'm listening to the speech itself. I don't want anybody's commentaries to influence my mind. I want to listen it to myself. Same thing about the Russian-Ukrainian war. I have very few trusted commentators who are proven to be right almost 100%. And I'm spending my time listening to these sources. That's about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nick, I know you're joined us and everything, but how much do you pay attention to the social media of these world leaders and everything like that? Because I know that you're in Spain. Maybe you're paying attention to the Spanish president's X account or his Facebook account. I know that we posted some Chinese accounts and everything like that, and maybe there's some world leaders on those accounts. Nick, can you hear me?
Possibly not.
Possibly not. Nick might be.
Yeah, what's the issue, counselor?
No, just asking how much are you paying attention to the world
I can hear
leaders?
you. What's the issue?
No, I want to know, how much are you paying attention to the world leaders? Are you actually watching them and paying attention to them at all?
Well, they're not worth. Honestly, they're not worth paying attention to because, you know, other than this show, they're kind of worthless to listen to at this point in time. So, you know, I'll listen to them because we do this show, but in terms of the high level of intelligence and sophistication, it just doesn't exist right now. So it's not really worth saying. There are a lot of good people in the world to listen to, but the politicians aren't them. You know, most of the politicians are not. Frankly, they're just not that smart. You know, they know how to manipulate people, but they're not. You know, I hate to say it, Rick. They're not that smart. And so the thing is,
got a real smart
very
person here,
difficult for me
and
to
everything
listen
like
to
that.
them.
But
I did
are we
enjoy
ever going to hear
listening to
the
Dr.
actual?
Tappas discuss seizures. You know, 'cause
Yeah, we had that discussion earlier. Are we
I
ever
don't
going
know much about it, but listening to Democrats and Republicans, you know, that's just a waste of time. Why do you want to listen to these people?
But speaking of that, I mentioned
You know,
that in the monologue and everything like that.
And why would you want to listen to the media?
Hold on a second, Nick. Apparently, young people are joining you
They
and
spend
David
half
Walker
their
because
time
they're
trying to
saying
manipulate you. And
Hold on a second.
if you're smart, you can see you're being manipulated.
And they're saying that young people, and I mentioned that in the earlier news story, and I think Dr. Sharif kind of mentioned it too, but apparently young people around the world, and particularly even in the U.S., are frustrated by both the Democratic and the Republican Party. So they're saying that young people are moving away from both parties and are frustrated by both of them. So what is your take on that? Because that was one of the things that I mentioned earlier, is that there's a poll that says the young people are like, I don't like either of these parties and everything like that. So apparently the young people are like,
Good for
can
them.
we get rid of
So polls lag by weeks. What's going on? I would think that there would be
it's a great movement because both. I don't like either party. I don't like either party today. You know, if you know what you have is a very manipulative media and manipulative. They try to get your money all the time by rousing you up and creating things that shouldn't create. They do not engage. Oh, Dr. Sharif engages in positive movement forward for the world. Okay, it doesn't get a lot of press, but you know that's what he's. In other words, and trying to increase the overall standard of living of people in his country and around the world. But that doesn't get any press. Instead, what gets press is this idiotic stuff that's going on in Minnesota, the stuff with Denmark. I mean, it just goes on, and it just doesn't really enhance the world at all. It doesn't make the world better.
No,
So
but
Trump
you
is-
It makes the media get a lot of eyeballs and people riled up. If that's what you want to do,
Well, I think
what a bloody waste. You know what? I'm enjoying my time in Spain. Spain is wonderful. I just went to the beach on the Mediterranean. We're out there, You know, the people are out eating and having a good time on the streets. That's how you live, baby. You live good. You know, I didn't play my golf game. You know, that's good living. This stuff like what's going on in Ukraine, what a waste. What a bloody waste. In Minnesota, what a waste. You know, that stuff shouldn't even be on the air because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources. It's negative energy. Yeah. Oh, wait. Jacoby wants to talk. So
here's a quick question.
Come on,
have you guys seen the movie Inside Out? Anybody seen the movie Inside Out?
I know what it's about, but no.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, Inside Out is a good movie. Inside Out has this one main character. I mean, it has multiple characters, but the main protagonist is named Joy. Joy is always wanting to be happy, wanting everything to be great, and wanting to hide anything that affects or makes anybody sad or agitated. Joy is always just wanting to be happy. But what you learn in the movie is that that's not life. We have to be able to understand not only the joys of life, but also the sadnesses of life, but also the agitations in life, but also the anger in life. Because if you want to grow as an individual and if you want to improve and do as what Dr. Sharif is talking about, what Dr. Sharif is offering is, hey, we want to improve your life, and these are opportunities for you to do so. And I understand that you may be coming from a bad situation, but let's not make that bad situation the rest of your life. Let's look forward. So when you're saying that it's a waste to talk about what's going on in Ukraine, what is you saying that? We need to know what's going on in Ukraine because we need to those people, but also how it affects us. And so if we are going to move forward as a society and as a world society, now you don't even want to let me finish my point because you're actually talking over top of me. But again, we need to know what's going on. We need to be able to understand because, for example, if you want to even talk about what's happening Monday is actually going to be, well, actually, it's no longer a federal holiday due to Trump, but Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration. That's when we're celebrating the holiday. And the big thing about that is what Martin Luther King was doing was when he was marching, he was talking about moving forward, but he also had to point out the problems and the trials and tribulations that they went through as they marched. So when you're saying we don't need to know about that, no, King, the individual that we celebrate, which was what brought about the civil rights movement, and the reason he brought about the civil rights movement was due to the fact of the people being oppressed and the people knowing that they were being oppressed. So the way they move forward is knowing about the problems that are there and wanting to change them. So the idea, and actually his biggest thing was fighting for workers' rights and so on and so forth. But the biggest thing is we have to know about these things. We have to understand them.
All right. So Trump has really ramped up the chaos in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And so the polls haven't come out yet. Hold on. To say whether people are going to be disgusted with what's going on. I think it may cost him 1 or 2% worth of approval. Is that going to change other politicians' minds about whether they support Trump? Probably not yet. You know, Biden lost a ton of support when he pulled out of Afghanistan. His approval tanked. He never recovered. Trump hasn't experienced that kind of tanking yet. He may never will. One more thing. After World War II, the Allies left 1 million soldiers in Germany to try to denazify Germany. But the hardcore Nazis, they weren't denazified. They just became quiet, stayed Nazis until they got old and died. In the U.S., we may be seeing something similar, that MAGAs have been following Trump, hardcore MAGAs, into celebrating more and more cruelty. Those people, 20% of American adults, may have permanently broken brains. Even after Trump leaves office, they may stay MAGA for the rest of their lives, even when it doesn't make sense.
And I agree with that. What the
I just want to add one point. Yeah, if you allow me,
and so what? So what? They stay MAGA. I mean,
Hold on a second.
there's nothing wrong with
Nick.
people who
Dr.
believe
Sharif
America
had something
should be
he wanted to
great.
say.
Except you've been fed a lot of garbage that you shouldn't. You don't like MAGA people.
Nick, Dr. Sharif has something he wanted to say, not about MAGA, but something else.
Yeah, good. We have something positive. Dr. Sharif.
Yeah,
Yay,
Professor Lee. Basically, like your TV, right? It's actually something in 6 years before I find that, okay, I get my voice, right, for my work. So the same way, even right now, my peoples, I told you, like in this Himalayas, this Ganga, this Podda, and Bay of Bengal. And this region, there is a 600 million people. So I start when I talking about Pot TV. They are our audience. Try to understand. They are our audience. Even the last seminars, I share our different podcast with my audience. So people become very positive. So that's why this coming 31st January, also 30 January, we do two initiatives. One is we convince our youth, if you want to be a good leader, you have to be educated. So we are offering from USA, from Japan, a climate leadership program. They're very much convinced. So we are welcoming people for them for academic discussions, because academia and research is something, it's actually helped to educate our people. Education is very, very important. Let's say through your podcast, through research paper publications, through the actions. And second thing, 31st of January, which will be very, very important. I want to invite you all. People from USA, definitely from NASA, from Stanford University, from India, specifically from IIT and Indian government, from Bangladesh, very, very popular politicians, because at the end of the day, reality, politicians take decisions. So I change the mindset of the politicians. I am adding some initiative. I do not say that, okay, I will always criticize you. I said, okay, I can add value in your policy development, in your master plan, and it will change. And then the people, those who run by the politician, those who run by the corporation, they become very positive, and they said, hey, we need it. So Pot TV can be the new voice for this world. What I said, it's a $1 trillion economy. You can trust me, you can visit with me, you can engage with this hundred of millions of people with me. And you can find, I engage, I help to communicate with all of the people, and everybody become positive. So positive things, I want to say how I behave, how I talk, it's actually matter. So always, if I go for all of the negative discussions, people will afraid of me. And always I go for a positive discussion that, okay, if you go for better education, it will help you. If you go to Pot TV, you can learn good things. If you go for good healthcare systems, it will improve your lives. So that is the way I'm trying to change the mindset of politicians. I do not know, maybe it will be applicable for USA or Iran or whatever it is. I try to change the mindset of Islamic people. Some point Western world has Islamophobia. NGO, they are very a good ally of USA, and academicians and corporations. So that is the movement. So definitely Pot TV, you are very, very important for my movement, because you are the voice of these people. You are the, it's not only personal discussion, it's a mission of changing 600 million people's lives. And we are taking action, not only discussions, not only political dialogue. We go for actions, how we can change human life with our urban planning, with river management, with energy system, with better healthcare system, with better housing system. And hopefully next 10 years will be very interesting for all of us if you join in my ecosystem, if you join with me. I think, Steve, you have originated from India. So maybe you have some relatives right now in India, but I'm getting a very positive response both from India and Bangladesh. That is my appeal to all of my colleagues. Besides this dialogue, how we can contribute for human progressions. That is the real politics or real mission for myself.
Yeah, that makes sense and everything. Steve, you joined us and everything along those lines. Love to hear what you've got to say about what's going on in the world on this particular day and everything like that. And by the way, the thing that I was going to bring up, and Sasha can address this later on if we have time, but apparently there's a lot of issue around the notion of capping credit cards, because apparently Trump wants to cap credit cards and along those lines, but the corporations, including Delta Air and Citibank, are not happy with that and everything like that. But I'm just wondering your thoughts around what's going on in the world. If you want to touch base on this credit card cap that Trump is proposing, you can do that as well.
Well, yeah, I just want to chime in real quickly. I've got to run, but it's great to see everybody. And Sharif, I do have family in India, and everybody's looking at kind of the changing world. What I will say, I'm sorry I got here late today. But, just looking at the shift of U.S. foreign policy, a very hegemonic, a very, colonial kind of foreign policy, which is, dangerous for the United States. I think, with what happened in Venezuela, now with Iran, we're going to go back into a situation where we're just declaring all these wars and taking over, Greenland and everything. So it's a bit disruptive. I think that, I don't know how things are going on in Ukraine, Sasha. I've been a little bit plugged in my campaigns. I haven't been keeping it up on world affairs as much as I normally do. Just a really, really different time. But I think the Democrats will win the midterms, and then we'll have to see all eyes on the presidency in probably a year from now, where we'll start, looking real hard at, right now I'm hearing Bashir, Westmore, Governor Newsom, are some of the names that are coming out early. So,
yeah. Did you have a question, Rick?
No, I just wanted to say, Nick said it's okay for people to continue to be MAGA. And that's true, that if MAGA means wanting smaller government, pay less in taxes, the type of people that I worry about who are never going to get mentally healthy are the people who are posting on X that fire up the ovens again. Like it's time to kill more Jews. If you're black and brown, look out, ICE is coming for you. The people who are virulent, haters, racists, anti-Semites who've been encouraged by radicalized. There are millions of those people, tens of millions, who their broke brains may never get fixed.
Well, what had happened is that they have given a megaphone to that population. They became the voters that they sought after because that's how they filled out their base. They lost a lot of people in terms of Republicans leaving the party, as well as, it happened on the Democrat side as well, but not to the extent that happened on the Republican Party, because there are a lot of Republicans that really, they're still Republican, but they don't like Trump. And what they did is they filled out their party with that demographic, from the conspiracy individuals to the flat earthers to all these individuals that never went out and voted because they didn't think that somebody listened to them. Trump gave them a megaphone. So those people are the extremists who, yes, control a center part of the the MAGA base, and they're not going to change. But when we were talking earlier about how, we training the people, or how he's trained his people, which is that MAGA base that trusts them. But the thing is, when we talk about these things and we being honest about the things and pointing out the situations, like the Epstein files, that created a fracture in the MAGA base and that Republican wing. That fracture has opened eyes to a lot of people. This is why Joe Rogan, of all people, started talking about how he dislikes the ICE tactics. Had the Epstein list not popped off and done it, had Trump released the Epstein files, that MAGA base, Joe Rogan, would have all championed and said everything that Trump says. But because he created a question, a legitimate question in the MAGA base's mind, that means they now can question everything, and they can question more things. And the bigger that question is, because if you look at the actual independents, the independents have shifted. Trump's, I saw a poll the other day when Trump, I think among young people, was up 10 points at the beginning of the year last year. But the beginning of the year now, he's down 30 points. It was a 40-point swing among part of his base. So the more they are able to question, and the more that we're honest about these things and calling these things out, and I agree with Dr. Sharif in terms of giving options, giving that outlook. An outlook doesn't have to be, hey, we're going to talk about Skittles and rainbows. No, but it has to be an outlook that can be achievable and can be somewhere we can go, somewhere we can walk to. Hence the reason, I guess, harking back to the holiday that we're going to be celebrating. That's what King did, and he did it in a positive light. He talked about the problems. His whole thing was about workers' rights and pushing, and then the civil rights came into play and pushing forward on that. He talked about the realities. Malcolm X did the same thing, talk about the realities. They had different approaches, but they came to the same conclusion. We need a move forward. And honestly, again, what Dr. Sharif is talking about, giving opportunities and giving these things, but also we have to be honest about what's here, because that's where MAGA is starting to question. Once they can get that question in their mind, and it's no longer, hey, that young lady in the car that ICE drug out who's disabled, even though she's brown skinned, she's taking my job. That's what they're seeing. So now they're able to question these ICE tactics. Now they're starting to see some things that are wrong. And that's where the narrative, because before they control the narrative, oh, it's about transgender rights. No, it's not. It's about treating people with dignity. That's all it is.
But there's a lot of targeting as well, because there's some breaking news. Apparently, the FBI is searching the home of a Washington Post reporter for classified documents probe, according to what their newspaper said. And Senator Alyssa Slotkin says she's under investigation for participating in the clip, the second lawmaker to face an inquiry. So apparently,
now Trump is sicking the FBI on his enemies. This reporter didn't leak classified documents. This reporter has been interviewing people who were fired by Doge, and that's it. And Trump didn't like the reporting. She was reporting on the devastation wrought by incompetent governing. She was not one of the people she talked to had access to classified documents. That guy is being investigated, but he didn't share docs with her, and she wasn't reporting on any of that. But it's pure vendetta.
This is all authoritarian. This is all about silencing dissent. And yes, it's a vendetta. I'm going after anybody who questions me. He's already gone and said that they should fire Seth Meyers. He's told them that now. CBS is taking over, so CBS is giving him this full platform. And because the head of CBS is now squashing stories that are against them, he's going after everybody and anybody, and he's trying to silence dissent, because that's what authoritarians and dictators do. I mean, one of our greatest historians, Sasha, is right here, can talk about the history of what Putin did. It's the same playbook. And then if you go back further, I mean, it's Goebbels all over again. This is the same playbook.
Yeah, just reported that the Witkoff and Kushner, they're flying soon back to Moscow, talking to Trump's friend Vladimir Putin. What they are to discuss there, I really have no idea, because Russia hasn't moved even 1 inch from where they were a year ago. So Trump is wasting now second year already on talking to Putin and so on, and the Putin keep bombarding Ukrainian city, killing innocent civilians, which has another name. It's a terror. Russia is terroristic state, and why would Trump, using all the might of the United States, would talk to terrorist number one in the world? I really don't know.
Who knows? But I know
Think about the irony of this, though. Think about the irony. Maduro had a had a warrant for his arrest out of the state of New York. Putin has a warrant for his arrest from the international courts. Yet Trump is cozying up and loving on him some Putin.
We're not going to go and arrest him and everything like that. I know we got the investment show coming up at 1:00, and we'll see what you and Jim Ead have to say about a number of investments. It looks like my mom, who's been still dealing with her car purchases and everything, might be joining others, because apparently the U.S. retail sales have been propped up, which actually surprised me, by car purchases. So apparently during the holiday season that we just came out of, a lot of people were buying cars, but they said that propped it up the holiday season, with a number of people going out there buying cars. And I guess that since we're out of the pandemic supposedly, and all along those lines, more people are going out and buying cars for their young ones and for themselves, and all along those lines. So I don't know if y'all will touch on that, Sasha, but apparently car purchases have definitely a boost in retail sales, and we also lost a major store and everything. So if anybody is into fancy stores, Saks Global is going bankrupt and everything like that. So they just recently filed bankruptcy, and I know that is a popular high-end luxury department store, but they just filed for bankruptcy protection.
We're now at last year was the 15, I think, the highest year of bankruptcies in 15 years, if I remember.
Well, that's a lot of bankruptcy, so that's definitely something that they may bring up in the investment show and all along those lines. Hey, Rick, as we get ready to get out of the door, and I know you're probably going to run and get you some, just like Chitofi is as well, and this will be a way to end the show on a lighthearted note and everything like that. But today is the 14th, tomorrow is the 15th, and that is going to be National Bagel Day. So if you got any bagel shops in your area,
I already had half a bagel today.
All right.
Tomorrow is National Bagel Day.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you finished that, because I thought you were talking about Rick getting him some. I know. Rick normally goes to the bathroom, but he might be getting him some after this call.
Hey, I've been married 35 years.
Yeah, he should be able to do that on a regular basis.
But I will have a bagel. I start the day with half a bagel every day.
Good.
A full bagel is too many calories for somebody my age. But,
yeah, you're probably putting too much whipped cream and stuff on the bagel and everything.
No,
like that.
just a little bit of light butter. I'm not a whipped cream guy.
Okay, good. Well, on that note, we're going to get on out of here, so you can celebrate National Bagel Day tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow, you folks. And we got other shows coming on the network, including Sasha's Modern Investment. But right now, let's get on out of here. It's been good to have a good conversation, and we'll have more good conversation on tomorrow.